Good afternoon, dear students. It's me, Malohat, senior teacher at Oregon State University. Dear students, today at our lesson we will speak about community language learning. So, community language learning, one of the so-called designer methods. Arose in the flurry of methodological experimentation in the 1970s, forms part of the Humanistic Approach to language learning. Emphasize the learner's responsibility for their own learning. The founder figure was Charles Curran, an American Jesuit priest, primarily designed for monolingual conversation classes where teacher counselor would be able to speak the learner's first language. How it works in the classroom. Now we'll discuss it together with you. Stage 1, reflection. I started with students sitting in a circle around a tape recorder to create a community atmosphere. The students think in silence about what they would like to talk about while I remain outside the circle. To avoid a lack of ideas, students can brainstorm their ideas on the board before recording. Stage 2, recorded conversation. Once they have chosen a subject, the students tell me in their first language what they would like to say, and I discreetly come up behind them and translate the language chunks into English. With the higher levels, if the students feel comfortable enough, they can say some of it directly in English, and I give the full English sentence. When they feel ready to speak, the students take the microphone and record their sentence. It's best if you can use a microphone, as the sound quality is better and it's easier to pick up and put down. Here they are working on pace and fluency. They immediately stop recording and then wait until another student wants to respond. This continues until a whole conversation has been recorded. Stage 3, discussion. Next, the students discuss how they think the conversation went. They can discuss how they felt about talking to a microphone and whether they felt more comfortable speaking aloud than they might do normally. This part is not recorded. This part is more important and more efficient because this is the very conversation. And this is the very communication. Without communication, there is no any fluent speaking, no any foreign language. So that is why this is one of the most important part of the lesson. And the stage 4, transcription. What they usually do, what the students usually do in this part. Now we'll see. Next, they listen to the tape and they transcribe their conversation. I only intervene when they ask for help. The first few times you try this with a class, they might try and rely on you a lot, but aim to distance yourself from the whole process in terms of leading and push them to do it themselves. Stage 5, language analysis. So I sometimes get students to analyze the language, the same lesson or sometimes in the next lesson. This involves looking at the form of tenses, the vocabulary and vocabulary used, and why certain ones were chosen. But it will depend on the language produced by the students. In this way, they are totally involved in the analysis process. The language is completely personalized, and with higher levels, they can themselves decide what part of their conversation they would like to analyze, where it be tenses, lexis, or discourse. So in this way, they may develop their critical thinking too, with the help of this analysis. With lower levels, you can guide the analysis by choosing the most common problems you noted in the recording stages or by using the final transcription. So everything has its pros and cons. Now let's speak about pros first. What about the pros? These learners appreciate the autonomy community language learning offers them and thrive on analysis their own conversations. Community language learning works especially well with lower levels who are struggling to produce spoken English. The class often becomes a real community, not just when using community language learning, but all of the time. Students become much more aware of their peers, their strengths and weaknesses, and want to work as a team. And now let's speak about cons. What are the cons of this community language learning method? So the first con is in the beginning, some learners find it difficult to speak on the tape, while others might find that the conversation lacks spontaneity. We as teachers can find it strange to give our students so much freedom and tend to intervene too much. In your thoughts to let your students become independent learners, you can neglect their need for guidance. So, dear students, that is all with my presentation, and revise all the learned materials and be ready for the next time. Goodbye.